I hope you all signed up for activities. Okay, so we're starting over. This is Mack, the global director of Trendspotting for JWT. So please give her a round of applause. It's not easy to have technical difficulties.
Thanks, everyone, for your patience. As Kathy mentioned in her introduction, today we're going to talk about what we call going private in public. But before I explain further about that, I wanted to share a stat with you from a survey that we at JWT conducted back in November. 71% of American adults agree that in the age of social networks, I feel as if privacy is dead. No big surprise, right? But I would argue that we are as much the victims as we are the perpetrators of this fact. Let's step back for a moment and look at the evolution of our behaviors since the dawn of social media. Now, some of you would say that social media has existed since the dawn of the internet, with products such as CompuServe in the 80s and AOL in the 90s, connecting people across the web. But social networking as we know it today really took off with the launch of Friendster in 2002, followed by MySpace and LinkedIn a year later. And of course, Facebook in 2004 to college students and then to the general public in 2006. At the start of social media, we had this phenomena of radical transparency where people showed and told all, no matter how personal. But when we sobered up and in the light of day, we thought, uh-oh, we had this spate of radical transparency remorse, especially as these online exhibitionists entered higher education in the workforce and realized that admissions offices and employers were using their social media profiles to vet potential candidates. Fast forward to today, and we've become much more savvy, mature, and sophisticated in our approach to social media. In a world where living publicly is becoming the default, we are finding creative ways to carve out private spaces. Rather than rejecting sharing in social media tools altogether, we are reaping all the benefits of a vibrant online life, yet defining and managing a new notion of privacy for the social age. This is what we call going private in public, and this is what we're going to talk about today. Now, there are several reasons for this shift in behavior. First and foremost is the fact that privacy control has shifted away from the individual. It is no longer a fact that ultimate control lies in our hands, even those of us who diligently tweak our privacy settings. We are still at the behest of social networks' terms of service. Just take the outcry over Instagram's decisions to change its terms of service late last year. In essence, the service said that it had perpetual rights to license users' photographs to companies and other organizations for any purposes, including advertising. That led to a user revolt, with many threatening to kill their Instagram accounts and many proceeding to do so. Well, 24 hours, Instagram CEO issued an apology saying that they would clarify their terms of service. More recently, Facebook is raising privacy concerns with its graph search, which it launched in beta last January. And every time the web titans change the rules, there is this user panic that leads to posts such as these. Now, we've all seen these misguided attempts to protect privacy, with users posting copyright and privacy notices with the hope that these declarations will protect them. But these notices are indeed an urban myth. Meanwhile, managing our privacy settings is as daunting as trying to do your taxes with an abacus, or so says Nick Bilton of the New York Times. But it's not just the web powers that be that toy around with our public persona. It's our tag-happy, share-happy friends who don't understand that just because something is done in public or is public information, we may not want it publicized or broadcast to the world at large. Indeed, in the survey we conducted back in November, over half of our survey population said it's becoming increasingly difficult to keep parts of my life private since friends share everything online. 1 in 5 have had their secrets accidentally shared by their friends. And 43% agree that every time I take a photo with friends, I wonder where it will end up. This goes especially for the hypersocial millennials, with 62% in agreement. So we are left to wonder, what is going to happen? While our social gaffes might not garner headlines, we are becoming extremely cautious when everything is so uploadable and shareable. As Ray Connolly of The Telegraph wrote following the embarrassing nude photo escapade of Prince Harry, it seems to me that although there can never be a law of Harry's bottom to protect our privacy from camera phones, a new mode of internet manners and social mores must emerge when freedom to take and publish pictures of a social gathering isn't blithely assumed just because it's possible. When it comes down to it, we're still formulating an etiquette around digital sharing and privacy. Watch as more social media users think twice about behaviors such as photo tagging and posting congratulatory notes as they become more in tune with the sensitivities around sharing other people's information. Also, watch for people to issue more social media policies around milestone events such as weddings and baby showers, asking guests, don't post photos or tweet about this or check into this. This is an intimate event. But until then, until these new codes of conduct for the social age emerge, what do we do? Aside from wearing a mask, that is. This mask does exist. It's the brainchild of a German artist named Martin Bacchus. It's a statement, of course, but he says it's a simple piece of fabric that creates a little piece of anonymity for the internet age. Now, for those of us who don't want to go to such extremes, we're utilizing our own devices. We see ourselves policing our profiles, with 36% of U.S. adults having had to tell their friends, do not post me in photos or status updates. 53% of millennials saying as much. Now, when a hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink doesn't work and we need to be more forceful with these tag-happy, share-happy friends, well, as with everything, there is an app for this. In this case, it's called Very Sure Yourself, and it comes from a security firm out of Europe called Securitas Direct. And basically, it's designed to help users deal with friends who post unflattering pictures and updates. Take a look.
Pumpkin, keep your reputation from getting dragged through the mud by being the one in control. Before I really lose my temper.
Now, of course, you can use Facebook's tag review built-in features, but we feel like apps such as this get the point across a little more clearly. Not only have we become adept at policing our profiles, but we've become adept at pruning them, deleting unwanted friends, tags, and status updates. According to Pew Research, 44% of social networking users have deleted friends' comments. That's up from 36% 3 years ago. 63% have deleted people from their friends list, up from 56% in 2009. Now, who couldn't lose a few friends these days? After all, what was once a network exclusively for college students, an implicit private space to interact with one's peer group, has become a social media melting pot of over 1 billion members, with users connected with everyone from their family members to their coworkers to their childhood and high school friends and even ex-boyfriends. Google Plus covered off on this Uber exclusiveness in a promo video it launched 2 years ago. Take a look.
So I'm on the old Facebook page, and recently I've been seeing a lot of updates like this. In fact, I've been hearing a lot about Google Plus all over. So I created an account. Then suddenly, everyone finds me there, and my inbox is flooded with people putting me in their circles. So we've got circles now? You see, I'm pretty happy with my Facebook. I've already set up camp here. It's that old familiar place where I see everyone's updates. What's not to love? Well, maybe not that guy. And it is annoying that my boss is now my friend, so I'm busy untagging all of my incriminating photos and hoping that my privacy settings are set right. And oftentimes I'm censoring my updates. And let's be honest, just because you know a guy from work doesn't mean you like what he likes. You see, on Facebook, everyone is your friend, and that doesn't make a lot of sense because in real life, that's not how it works. But do I really want to choose a new social network? You know what? Forget it. It's all too much. I'm going back to MySpace. You know what? Forget all of this. I'm going to go outside where relationships are real and life makes more sense. I'm going to avoid social media forever. Who are you?
I'm the social media guru, and I will teach you the ways of choosing a social media platform. You already have a Facebook account, and you know what it can do and what it can't. But what about Google Plus? In Google Plus, instead of the assumption that everyone is your friend, you put everyone in appropriate groups called circles. People can be in more than one circle, just like in real life, and you can easily share something with just some people, or with everyone.
So as you can see, this uber inclusiveness of Facebook has many rethinking how they interact with the site and whether they interact with the site at all. It also has others turning to Facebook alternatives such as Google+, Path, Best of All Worlds, and iFamily Board. Path launched as the personal network, allowing only 150 connections. Interestingly enough, people generally connect with only 40 people on average on Path. Best of All Worlds launched last year, and at launch, the founders sent out 5,000 invites, and you, in turn, were only able to invite 10 contacts, making for a very exclusive network. An iFamily Board, as its name implies, is meant for family members who simply want to keep in contact with each other and share photos and other updates. And if you can stomach it, there is even social networking for couples. Pair is an app that allows partners to share messages, sketches, photos, location updates, and don't lose your breakfast, thumb kisses. And there are other apps like it, such as Avocado, Couple, and Simply Us. No matter where you choose to socialize these days, it's becoming abundantly clear that privacy is no longer an option. We're increasingly understanding that we need an online presence to advance socially and professionally. And we're taking great care of polishing our online image across social networks. We're also taking care of crafting an offline image, realizing that so many moments can end up online. 6 in 10 of our survey respondents said, because of social networks, I'm becoming more self-aware of the image I put out there, both online and off. We're leaving nothing to chance, rather than fear that some behaviors might end up on social media that might not be consistent with the image we want to project. We're gaming the system or finding workarounds beyond just applying the maximum privacy filters and blocks. Some of us are coming up with Facebook pseudonyms that are only known to our true friends. One millennial, for instance, used the pseudonym Colleen Skis-a-Lot when she was a senior in college and applying to jobs to avoid the prying eyes of nosy employers. Others are coming up with an ideal online image, with people posting about volunteering and taking in stray puppies and the like. As a high school teacher told Read Write back in October, since students don't volunteer this information to the admissions office, they don't see it as lying. Instead, they feel that if admissions officers are going to dig up dirt on them by prying into their personal lives, then they're going to game the system and create fake personas for them to discover. Meanwhile, high school students are creating social media free zones at parties that are called dark rooms, where no cell phones or photographs are allowed. There, they can partake in underage drinking and other uninhibited behaviors without fear that this incriminating evidence will end up online. I see some parents shaking their heads. Well, noting this behavior, Argentina's Norte beer came up with a clever product to ensure that what happens at the club stays at the club. Take a look.
Hello?
Hey, babe. How was the birthday party?
Yeah, it was boring.
Without photo blocker.
You're such a liar.
With photo blocker.
Aw, you didn't have any fun.
Without photo blocker.
You're disgusting.
With photo blocker.
And what do you guys get him?
Without photo blocker.
You jerk.
With photo blocker.
A t-shirt?
Without photo blocker.
Son of a bitch.
With photo blocker.
Baby blue?
Without.
I hate you.
With.
I love you.
Nighttime is very dangerous. That's why Norte Beer presents the first beer cooler that detects when a photo is being taken and shines a flash. Norte Photo Blocker. What happens in the club stays in the club.
None of these behaviors, however, address the human need to forget. Whether it's what we had for dinner last week or a traumatic incident like a surfboard to the face. Forgetting is a natural and healthy phenomena. And increasingly, the internet does not forget. As Don, I skipped ahead, but increasingly there's this hyper-documentation going ahead, with parents even getting in on this game, posting photos of their children in the womb, followed by baby and childhood photos, and then, of course, those photos of those oh-so-awkward adolescent years. Our digital records will live on and on and on, and that does not sit well with us. 67% of American adults say they dislike seeing their entire history on display on social networking sites. 4 in 10 say they hate that they can never live down embarrassing moments because they seem to live forever online. This, again, goes more so for the millennials who grew up using social networking tools during their formative years, with 62% in agreement. Now, Don Tapscott talks about this phenomena. He says, our ability to record nearly everything and to make that record available to others is unprecedented and defies parallels. What will it be like to grow up in a world that does not forget? Will comments posted online at age 14 discourage people from seeking public office or speaking out years later out of fear? Some experts, such as Tapscott,